Can you alter the focus so when I stand there, I'll be in focus?
She's looking for that ayahuasca.
Yeah, like, I don't know what she can say. So basically, you take a teaspoon and you can add it into a smoothie, or you can add it into your mouth, swish it around with water, and it's a mineral supplement. So you don't need any other supplements when you take the algae. You know what I mean? Like magnesium supplement, B12, iodine, DHA, any supplements that you may have. It's all catered for in the CMOS. These are 20. These are 30. All the capsules are 30 and they're 20. So, am I in focus?
Yeah, really focus. Yeah.
You can alter this manually.
I don't want to touch it just in case.
Just mess with it.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I can feel the flow. It's boss when the camera comes. The camera creates the energy.
It does, doesn't it? It creates an energy.
I was literally thinking that when I was there, I was looking.
People more intrigued and stuff.
Yeah. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like the reason why I brought the CMOS today was because it was obviously Chinese New Year, and that's why I'm outside on the street. But we know everyone, there's like so many million people under quarantine right now with the Wuhan virus. So that's why I'm out, is to educate people about viruses, because it's super important that we grasp monomorphism and pleomorphism. And these are two ideologies that were beefing with each other, so to speak, or people were representing monomorphism, a group of people, and then there was a group of people representing pleomorphism, and they were coming together, clashing, debating, saying like which ideology they think is like fact or fiction. And what came out on top in mainstream science was monomorphism, which is the logic that nothing changes form, nothing transforms and changes state. That's monomorphism. So that's why everything has to be pasteurized. It's because someone who represented that logic was someone called Louis Pasteur. So that's why you get pasteurization, is because he repped that logic, which is monomorphism. And what you have is making everything sterile, because we don't believe that the environment regulates something's morphological state. They don't believe that. They don't believe that you get around different environmental conditions and you behave different. They don't acquiesce to this fact. So that's monomorphism. So that's why everything has to be sterile. And then we see the pseudo science surrounding probiotics emerge, because probiotics is stacked on top of, or it is a result of monomorphism, where we think that we have to take something external that grew outside of our microbiome, and we believe that we have to take something that was developed outside of our intestine for our intestine to be healthy. Whilst not regulating the intestine, we're still just adding something external into it. With me? So that's all monomorphism. That's not actually dealing with the environment or controlling the environment, which is pleomorphism. Because when you control the environment, you control something's morphological state. You go in the sun, you're a different person. Vitamin D activates over 1,000 genes. Who knows what enzymes, proteins, vitamins, all kinds of activity is going on just from those genes being activated. So an aspect of yourself is dormant until you get into the sun. You know what I mean? And we will all attest to that. We love ourselves more when we experience our solar self. You get into the sun, you're feeling different about yourself, you know what I mean? feeling yourself more. Something going on a DNA level that the sun is creating a different type of person. So that's pleomorphism. All we have to do is just apply that same fact on a smaller level inside the body, and we know that if we regulate the environment, we change how a microbe develops.
So mainstream science is saying that the environment doesn't change anything.
Yeah. That's why we have vaccines. Because it's like, we don't think that your environment can regulate the state of a virus. So we're going to inject you with the virus just in case that you come into it, you would have created a response to it already.
So that's like contradicting themselves.
Well,
they're saying the environment can't.
Well, it is. But that's where vaccines come from, is monomorphism, because they're thinking that you have a situation where you can't rely on the environment. You still have to go and get something external to create a response. But there would be no response in a healthy body. That virus won't affect you. Because you've regulated your environment. So it would be very interesting to do a study and put a group of people all on herbs, keep them very well hydrated, keep them plant-based, and keep them on the CMOS that contains carrageenans that can rebuild the mucous membrane. That's why he's got that mask on, you know what I mean? He's protecting his mucous membrane because things can deposit along your mucous membrane and dry that out. And that's how things will begin to enter your body, is when the mucous membrane dries out. So you keep your mucous membrane healthy, nothing can actually enter the body. So no virus is ever coming into your body where you're contracting the Wuhan virus and now you're dying.
What is the most practical way? Practical way to keep your membranes healthy?
Stay out the city. But if you do stay and dwell in the city, you want to make sure your iodine levels are high, so you can balance out nitrogen.
Right.
Because it's the nitrogen that's going to dry you out. Because nitrogen competes with oxygen for the same space. You with me?
Right.
So now you're converting your water into ammonia, because that's where you find oxygen, is in H2O.
Right.
So now you're taking out the O and adding in the nitrogen. So now you get NH2. So now you're very close to ammonia, which is NH3. So high nitrogen levels create ammonia, which is drying you out.
So you're making yourself vulnerable. Your cells are vulnerable.
Animal flesh, that's the #1 source of nitrogen. Biochemistry. Living biochemistry. You know, it's life. It's life. We reduce things to science and make it seem like it's we've relegated it to a lesser importance because of how we think we know what science is. See, people think that they know what science is, but they don't know science. Because you know, this is how Bruce Lipton, who learned he was a progenitor of epigenetics, which is really just a resurrection of an ancient fact that may have been lost within the mainstream environment. Just to bring that back, so pleomorphism is epigenetics, how the environment deactivates or activates genes. That's epigenetics, that's pleomorphism, you know. That's exactly what we said with the vitamin D and the sun and the 1,000 genes.
So you have control over your internal environment. You can have control over that. But what about your external environment?
Well, that's how you control the external environment. Because I'm controlling my internal environment while simultaneously controlling the external environment. So come around me and I'm controlling your external, or I'm controlling my space. Because I'm controlling the internal space. So it's like, if I'm on a particular frequency, I'm going to attract to me an external reality. So you control your external space by controlling your internal space. So this is living science, because we're seeing how the science is unfolding through living life. You know what I mean? Because I regulate bacteriophages, get them away. You know what I mean? I don't want any strands of DNA coming inside me that can deposit on the membranes of my cells and possibly get in, you know? I don't want that to happen.
So,
we're regulating our space.
as long as you regulate your internal environment and protect your internal environment, build your
Regulating the external at the same time.
and in some form you're protected.
Yeah, we are protected. That's why when people say, oh, be careful when you go in there. I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to tell me. Just because you watch the news and they say this about Jamaica, they say this about Africa.
Right.
Like, spirit carries me. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you burning sage, like, you never got no trouble. Like, if you keep your space clean, there's nothing, there's no animosity inside, so that can never reflect, that can never be magnetised to you, you know. That's the importance of herbs, is creating order out of chaos.
Right.
So you clean yourself, so your external life reflects. People who've got chaos in their life and don't know how to deal with it, because they're not looking inside themselves. There's chaos going within, you know. So there's a war inside that you've got to create order from. Otherwise your external life will forever be in chaos.
Yeah, it's good that you can make that connection, that if you can control, you can have control over your environment. You've got complete control. A lot of people think lives are out of control.
So this information makes you powerful. You know what I mean? Knowledge, this is how knowledge is power. You know? Knowledge is granting you power over your reality.
It's an outlook, isn't it? It's a perspective.
But yeah, like, so what a virus is foreign DNA. So you may be inhaling bacteriophages, and inside of the icosahedral heads of these bacteriophages, you have strands of DNA, which is foreign to your genome, so we call that a virus. Viruses can be good or bad. You can ask, you know, don't worry about interrupting. What is this? So that's CMOS. Specifically, it's conscious Christmas.
I think it only lasts like 20 minutes, so we've got to keep an eye on it. We'll pause.
From India and elderberry.
I don't know how you know though.
What it does, it basically, imagine a straw. When you put something inside the straw, it's got to be absorbed.
Trying to think of some questions to answer.
The straw to get into your body. So everything is happening via this chemistry along this one long tube, which is the GI tract. And then along that GI tract is a mucous membrane. And if that dries out and it cracks, you'll inhale a virus, an airborne pathogen, and that will be able to get inside your body. That's why the Asians wear the masks. You know what I mean? So you can take things that actually keep the mucous membrane lubricated, so nothing can get in because it's not cracked no more. You know what I mean? So I used to suffer a lot with chest infections. So now I wear masks when I ride my bike, and I stay on the CMOS, which helps me rebuild the mucous membrane. So you have molecules called carrageenan, or carrageenans found in conscious crispers, and these basically restore the mucous membrane.
So how do you absorb this?
I would do a teaspoon, swish it around your mouth with some water, and drink that every day. Especially in
how much is this?
That's 20, and you'll get about 20 servings out of it, so it'll be about like a pound per serving.
There's big ones in the fridge in there. I don't know if I know what it's
Cool, man. Yeah, but viruses are basically foreign DNA, and you need to regulate the type of information that you're coming in contact with. That's where you're taking power over your environment. Like, I won't have anyone in my house cooking flesh. I don't want that DNA going into the atmosphere. There's just certain things that you don't do in certain people's spaces, because that's how they like to regulate their space. Do you know what I mean? So this is about what information are you releasing. You may be comfortable with someone chilling in your space because you're happy with the type of information that they release. You may not be comfortable with other people because you know what they do and how they think and how they live. and that's not your frequency.
So you know the way you can encode photons with information, can you do that with the virus?
Viruses.
Or is a virus like its own thing?
A virus is collecting information because this is foreign DNA. So we're looking at basically the contents of a nucleus. So viruses record the environment into themselves. You know? So they're always picking up information. You know, you say your computer has a virus. Where did the virus come from? Well, someone writ the code. Someone sent out the virus. Someone wrote that code and sent it out. And now it infects your computer, slows your computer down. It might start extracting information from the computer. You know? So what you have is the environment controls how something takes shape and form, and viruses are mediums, how the environment comes into them, how something takes shape and form.
Would you say a virus is a blueprint then?
It's carrying a blueprint. What's happening? Good. It's carrying a blueprint.
These are all of your magnetic fluxes and that's what I've been telling you about.
Like, you've got... that's like a virus. You could see it as like...
Is it like a manifestation of an environment? So all the, together, so an environment can cause a new virus. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Because you could get DNA from a human, DNA from a plant, DNA from an animal, and if somehow they, connect, then you'll have a new virus. I mean, that's why like certain viruses will come from people in Asia eating crazy types of animals.
Right.
This is where like you get the Wuhan virus. People like eating, it was said that it was believed that someone was eating a bat soup, like you could actually see the teeth in the bat and the bat's face. You were eating a bat.
I've been keeping it all on the wall.
And that's supposed to be one of the rumours as to where the Wuhan virus has come from.
Wow.
People eating crazy animals because you're crossing types of DNA
right.
with weird things, like what the fuck are you doing eating a bat? Now you're combining types of DNA, that is crazy, you know what I mean? So, if you eat animals, that's like a dirty thing to do. So what you're exhaling, the space that you hold dirty, the money that you hold, like your fingers, putting them wherever, now putting them in your pocket, paying for something, you spreading major viruses there that like a lot of people usually wouldn't really interact with, because you're the one eating you're the one that's eating dog, crazy types of prawns and all madness, you know.
So they're carrying the virus, and or maybe potentially creating the virus within themselves, and then they're carrying it around.
The virus comes out of an environment that they've
created within.
Yeah.
Wow. With their inner space.
Yeah. They eat the craziest animals. I'm not saying all of them, you know what I mean?
Of course. But either way, it's still new DNA they're ingesting.
Yeah. And they're combining animal DNA with their DNA, and it's getting crazy.
Creating new virus.
So that's one of the issues, is staying protected against these viruses. And what happens is, like, you have to go on an airplane, you have to spend time in university around like people who come from like these places that are infected with these viruses. How do you stay immune? You know, there's herbs that you can get that are anti-malarial herbs. You can get herbs that are antiviral herbs. Powder arco is an antiviral herb. So what you have is herbs that can keep you protected from these viruses. So that's what you do when you go to other countries, you know, is you stay in contact with the herbs that are antiviral, you know, and that's what is going to be able to keep you immune. Instead of getting vaccines, you don't put yourself in a state where you may be affected by the virus because your body is so immune. The mucous membrane is super healthy, your cellular voltage is super healthy. Nothing has the chance to develop into a problematic situation.
Yeah.
You haven't given it the environment to proliferate.
And would the herbs have its own natural ability to protect itself in its environment? So that's kind of what it does. If we consume the herb, then it does the same for our environment.
Because they've been the herbs, the plants, they've been around, like the wild herbs, the wild plants, they've been around for much longer than humans. So they have that innate intelligence of how to deal with bacteria and fungi and viruses. Because they can't run, they can't go and take a shower, they can't burn sage. So the only method that they have for
regulate their environment,
disease, is to synthesize more nutrition. You know what I mean? So inside of the nutrition will be information that's stored within the aromatic amino acids. There'll be information stored within the plant's DNA, and that gives you the intelligence of how to deal with what they have already dealt with. You know what I mean? So herbs are actually an external manifestation of our immune system. This is where our immune system comes from. Fasting's not always enough. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you need to reprogram your DNA. You need to have some kind of material that can extract foreign RNA. You need to get the virus out. You can't kill a virus. You can only deactivate it and remove it and then flush it out. You're going to have a material
to regulate that.
Whoa, where did that come from? That stinks. I got a mouthful.
And also
cigarette.
That's wonderful though, that I love that plants are an external manifestation of your immune system.
Yeah.
It's so true.
And they're intelligent tools.
They are our intelligence. Because I have this theory where I don't believe that any of these sciences would have came about unless it was for the plants. You develop the intelligence to start creating sciences, synthesizing sciences, or seeing these symbols and how things interconnect and seeing these other realms. You start to connect to more of life and you become more intelligent, where you can start creating various methods of observation for your own specific needs. All that intelligence comes from consuming the plants. That's where I believe all intelligence comes from. Like the first people that created numerology, astrology, biology, and really understood the plant kingdom and how to like connect to the universe, they were getting their information from the plants. That's where you're like, it'll be like the psychedelics, like you'll go to the plants.
Yeah, true.
That's where you go to for your intelligence. You know what I mean? So it's like, to a particular degree, you can just see, okay, look at what someone consumes and you can see what type of conversation you can embark upon with that person. You can see where someone's journey is limited.
Right.
They don't have the material from the plants to journey there. You know what I mean?
The plants are like a downloadable content, really. You know,
zip files.
You're uploading.
Zip file. You know. So I realised that people who don't consume equatorial plants or equatorial herbs don't resonate with equatorial sciences. They haven't a clue what you're on about when you're trying to talk about symbology. Or like Leo is the lion. What do you mean? A lion is Leo and Leo is a star. Like they can't fathom that. People have observed nature and used what was around them to quantify what they observed. Oh, let's use the lion to describe the characteristics of this star constellation. People can't fathom that. You know what I mean? So some people don't resonate with these equatorial concepts because they don't consume equatorial terrestrial plants, and this is where I believe the more you get in contact with these tropical herbs, the more you can start to develop this clean.
Like a lander with a path where it takes to get the information as well.
It's
Like a lander.
Oh, a lander.
Yeah, with a path where the information comes to you.
yeah, Brad.
A lander.
Sorry.
A lander.
But it's like it's people's minds as well. It's a lot of people are living in a one-dimension reality. Like that's what it's like. It's like just one dimension to what they're living. But you're saying when you download this information, when you access the information,
See in more dimensions.
yeah, and that's it. And you
Seeing how these things connect. You know, it's like if I wear a red coat, I invoke a different energy in people, and I see it. But if you never knew that colours do that, you'd never see it.
right.
You know what I mean? So the more knowledge you upload, the more you see. You see a different reality.
See the depth.
You know? So you're going deeper, you're going in.
And that's what people need to understand. Like they need to access the tools, don't they, to be able to comprehend what's going on around them to a deeper degree.
This is what's funny, and this is why this is amazing. Like, just standing with you two is like, I know you get that. That there is a connection between biochemistry and spirituality, or botany, plants and spirituality. A lot of people think that, like, you know, you're not doing much if you eat meat, and people will think that they can still remain in a high spirit whilst eating the same electromagnetic polarity as their own self. So you're eating acid, but you're made, but you are the acid.
Right.
There's no electromagnetic potential. You can't generate a strong current. You can't generate a strong house for the soul to sit in. You can't synthesize much. It goes, you know what I mean? So people think that they're still practicing spirituality when they're eating meat, but that's funny because if you look at the people who ate meat, they didn't really give the world anything. They didn't offer the world anything of any kind of spiritual significance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like people aren't connecting these
Those dots, right?
that in order to be tapping into spirit, you have to be consuming the plants. That's just a historical observation. You look at who was plant-based, who was not, and what did each group offer to the world. So
I feel like that's why people.
making this connection.
Yeah, but I feel like they're not making the connection because they're not touching the plants. You know?
Exactly.
And so it's
But,
like.
but they thought that they was vegan, but they weren't connecting with the wild plants.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like you'll see many people revert back to eating meat and think that they experienced plants,
Right.
but they never. You can see that in their decision
Right.
to go back to a savage way of life. You know what I mean? That's a survival way of life. That's lower nature. To eat the same cell as yourself, because you're made up out of, humans are made from animal eukaryotic cells. You have plant eukaryotic cells and animal eukaryotic cells. So if you eat the same type of eukaryote as yourself, you're basically saying that you're eating the same type of cell as what you're made up of.
Form of cannibalism.
So that's cannibalism. There's no two ways around that when you know about the types of cells. This is not subjective. You're eating the same type of cell as your cell. The only difference is the information in the nucleus and the mitochondria. Apart from that, it's the same type of organelle setup. You know what I mean? It's an animal eukaryote. That's the only thing that differs. A cell that is in like a deer compared to a cell that's in a human is the information that is encoded in the genes that coil up into the chromosome that is in the nucleus, that resides in the cell. That's the only difference, is the information that's inside the nucleus, but it's still the same type of cell, an animal eukaryote. So people eat the same type of cells as themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So like,
it's almost like a form of self-hate in a way, I guess, because
Like repellent, like magnets in it, like the same charge.
it's repulsive.
in all sense, in all meanings of the word.
Attraction and repulsion, it's repulsive. You know, it's an electromagnetic repulsive act. It's mad.
Well, that was like, yeah, that's the
So
over.
you're dealing with a repulsive situation, and this is where I've seen how people don't have the mental stamina. I be telling, like, I be having conversations, and I'm seeing in people's face that they're working hard to like really like keep up, because I'm like, this is that, and that's a symbol of this, and this means this. You do the geometry of this, and that's taking you there, and it's like you're bouncing in and out of these things.
How much do we need for 3 of them?
Pincers, right? These pincers are heavy metal chelators. That means they chelate heavy metals, or they remove heavy metals from the cell. You know what I mean? So that's what's creating brain fog, or like mental blur, or just difficulty concentrating, or just the feeling of like being numb, or like your sensitivity is reduced. You know, people come back to me after taking these and say, like, it's like experiencing life within, like, life is now in HD. You know what I mean? This is what people say. You know, people are more bothered about a 4K television than like actually really getting
Living
2020
4K,
vision. You know what I mean?
Innit? That's it.
So like, it's where we place importance, because I grade just the quote Styles P. I put it up on the conscious consumption page the other day. Styles P is a rapper who's in the Locks. You might have heard him rapping with Jadakiss years ago. He still releases albums and mixtapes. Check him out. But he's saying, like, you know, he can enjoy, or anyone who's healthy can enjoy $20 in good health more than you can enjoy 20,000 in bad health. You know what I mean? So all this like external material success, that doesn't really mean anything if you're not internally at peace. So it only matters the external when you've mastered the internal first. So we put a lot of effort into attempting to make our external environment peaceful, better ourselves, but we're only looking at the external, because that's the only way that we've been taught, is get all these things that are external to us, and one day we'll eventually be there where we're in some place where we're happy. But what we'll find is that that's a wild goose chase, because we're constantly looking outside of ourselves. You know what I mean? So this is what the plants do, you know, and if you get to tap into that, then that's just a beautiful thing where you're about to start like a journey into like a different type of consciousness. And that's what the plants provide, is a different type of consciousness. Different type of consciousness. You know, because like, that's my mission, is well, it's a part of my mission. My mission is unfolding, you know, and I realise more of my mission the older I get. But what I'm experiencing now, and what's a really prevalent, or being a prevalent part of my mission, is waking people up to the idea that when we tap into the plants, that's when we really get ourselves active. Not really active on a spiritual level without these plants. I've experienced it. These herbs changed my life. I asked to get a refund on certain herbs not so long ago. Well, it was maybe like 2017, and I was told, because they were late on an order, I was told, look, it's complicated, we can't just give you a refund because I've made them, but he sold them, so it's in 2 bank accounts. So what we're going to do is we're going to just send you extra. So I got 8 bottles of Histonic from KT and Dr. Enke, and that's 8 bottles of Histonic. I'm standing outside 44, which is now at 8. So that's full circle, because 2020 was a lead on and a result of an amazing series of synchronistic events surrounding the number 44. Things that are like, you're thinking like, I'm not even creating that because I'm not even looking for it, like restaurant bills coming to 44 after speaking about 44, but it's not like 44.00, it's 44.44, it's like major, like crazy things like that. So seeing these signs surrounding 44 and then thinking back, I actually got 8 bottles of Histonic in 2016 or 2017. What happened was, this recovers your neuromelanin. So this compound, histonic, not only nourishes and re-lengthens the histones that are the caps that protect the DNA, like the caps on the end of your shoelaces. Once that cap comes off, it starts to frail.
Unravel, right?
Unravel. Yeah. That's what happens with your DNA. So you have telomeres, they're the caps. And that's what histonic does. Histonic re-lengthens the caps of the telomeres. So you use that to protect your DNA and rebuild your DNA, you know what I mean?
And what would that do for you? Would that be like longevity?
That extends your life. That's what age is based on. Age is based on the shortening of the telomeres.
Wow. Yeah.
Because then when your cell multiplies, it replicates itself from the information that was in the nucleus. But if the information that was in the nucleus was free from, you know, it was all unraveling and it had been degraded because there was no cap on the end of it, it's the resolution, the amount of information that is passed on through replication is shortened each time it replicates because there's no protection. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's just one aspect of it, but another aspect of it is recoloring my neuromelanin. Everyone has neuromelanin. You know, that's you may hear certain people who are like promoting the upliftment of their own people. All right, go for it. But it's a biological conversation when we're having melanin, and you just may hear it out of some people's mouths. And they're doing very good work, you know what I mean? Work that is needed, that has never been done before, necessary work that I applaud and work that I stand behind and resonate with. But it's a biological conversation the moment that we're talking about melanin and pigment. So what we don't want to do is make a mistake and think that certain people only have melanin. All people have melanin. If we never had any melanin, we wouldn't be alive.
But is it that some people have more than others?
Some people have more than others. External melanin. You have neuromelanin, like nervous system and brain and organ, like inner organ type of melanin. And then you have external melanin, which is like your skin melanin. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But all people have melanin. There's different shades, but we just want to make sure that we don't make that mistake and think that some people don't have any melanin and only black people have melanin. That's not biologically correct. You know, we have different shades. We have pheo and eumelanin, and then we have neuromelanin and skin melanin.
Okay.
But this is a protein that constitutes, sodium is a constituent of melanin, and it's ironic the way we'll hear a low sodium diet. Well, you know where sodium comes from is the ocean. So that's one of the things as well. It's like you've got a lot of sodium in here, which is balanced out with potassium, but we know sodium is needed to make the melanin protein, which is a pigment, which is a material that absorbs light and converts that into electricity. You know?
That the body can use.
Yeah. So histonic recolored my neuromelanin, and it's just so like how my reality unfolds is nothing short of magical. There afterwards.